Hey, good morning, everyone. Lot of discussions we saw this morning, and one of the key things that I have noted as a pointer was from Gunjan, where he said that transformation now is a business enabler, right? It's something that we can not live with, and it is becoming more and more essential, right, as part of our day-to-day operations. Coming to the topic here, evolving trends in B2B and B2C warehousing, right? Let's try to understand what are the things, what are the trends, or what are the points that the warehousing partners are today looking up to or looking forward to, right? But before we get there, now everybody would have, who all remembers Sabse Sasta Din? Right? Big Bazaar used to do that, a decade ago, where thousands and thousands of people used to line out outside Big Bazaar to just enter into the Big Bazaar store and, start shopping. Now, if we remember that, now the things have got changed. Now we have got, big billion days. These are digital days, right? Where there are sales, digital sales happening, where today we don't line outside the store, but we are glued to our screen, right, to make sure that we, fill up our carts, we select the correct product, and we do a checkout. So that's how industry in past 10 to 12 years have moved, right? Now, and this is moving at a rapid pace, right? Just to support this with numbers, 2019, the e-commerce industry in India was projected to be around 30 billion. As we are on 2024, or by end of 2024, this is going to be a 99 billion industry, which means within 5 years, this is going to be a threefold industry. What is the projected downside, right? 2029, we are talking this 99 is going to be a 500 billion industry, right? Which means within the next 5 years, year on year, or to that extent, another 500 billion industry is going to get created. So this is what the trends is, right? Also from a industry perspective, also from an e-commerce perspective, today most of us here are shopping on Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, or are placing orders on Swiggy, Zepto, and stuff, right? Which means practically this has become a crucial part of the life. Now, how is this being supported, right? From a warehousing industry, from a transportation industry, what are the things that I should be taking care of? So let's look at some of these pointers. Today we'll be more talking on these 5 points, right? Which are basically automation, robotics, right? How a warehousing partner needs to make sure that these things are in place, right? Data-driven decisions, a lot of discussion since morning we have talked about AI, automation, dashboards and stuff. But how practically are we using them? What are some of the key areas when it comes to B2B and B2C warehousing? E-commerce integration, again, from a warehousing perspective, what is it? Why it is important? Last mile delivery optimization. Now today this is something which is burning pockets, right? It is one of the bigger expenses for a brand or a seller, and then how they can optimize that. And finally, something towards the environment on the sustainability part. So yes, there are more points to this in terms of trend. We can talk about real-time visibility, we can talk about labor management, right? We can talk about a lot of other stuffs. But for today, with the limited time we have, we'll be, focusing on this 5. So let's start with the first one. Automation and robotics. Now again, coming back, going back some years, just a minute. At Future Group, right, when we used to work with them a few years back, they were the first one or a pioneer one in a retail industry to put a technology which was a put-to-light technology in a warehousing operations, right? Now, when we say put-to-light technology, I'm talking about days of 2008 and 2010, right, in retail, automation to the put-to-light technology sort of an extent was, they were the first one, right? Yes, in manufacturing, in other industries, this have been there. But for the retail, this was something very, very new. But those were the days where we were focusing on, voice speaking. We were focusing on put-to-light, pick-to-lights and stuff. What are we talking today? We are talking about moving robots in the warehouse, right? We are talking about the racks that are automatically coming to the packer rather than picker, thousands of pickers moving, across the warehouse. The pickers are stationed and the racks are digitally moving to the picker so that he can simply pick. So we are talking about those kind of automations here, right? We are talking about an automation where, I have a robotic arm, right? Where the robot, it's not a human, it's not a robot, but I just have a robotic arm which is attached to my conveyor belts, which can go and pick products, right? So those kind of robotics technology is required. Now, why it is required, right? Definitely to bring efficiency, right? The kind of orders, the kind of inventories that are being processed today are huge in numbers. With this B2C side, right, customers are not receiving orders hundreds and thousands. They are receiving 100,000 orders every day. Now, how do I manage that? Right? So definitely, if I look at a human level, averagely, everybody over here would agree that a human can pick around 200 to 250 orders a day. That's the industry standard. But am I able to, meet my requirement, meet my capacity? No. So that's why this robotic integration, implementation of robotics is very, very important. I'll talk about a live case study here. Today we are working with two of the leading quick commerce, companies in India, right? Now, we might be ordering today. Look at the quick commerce setup. They are promising 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes delivery to you, right? Which means from the time that you have ordered, the product is getting delivered to you in next 30 minutes. Out of which, 70 to 80% of time is consumed by the transportation. Which means from the time he picks up from the warehouse, he has to deliver to your place. Which means warehouse is only getting, 10 to 20% of time. Which means if a quick commerce guy is committing 30 minutes, the warehouse is practically getting 6 to 8 minutes. Now within 6 to 8 minutes, getting an order, picking an order and handing it over to the courier guy, right? Today, just to put a perspective, Maggie says that Maggie can be cooked in 2 minutes, but practically it is not, right? We all know it cannot be cooked in. Yes, we can. It's the easiest way to cook, but it still takes time. Now, from a warehousing perspective, if I have to pick an order, right, in 6 minutes, in 7 minutes, how efficient should I be, right? Now, one of the use case, one of the customers that we are working with, they are processing 700 to 800,000 orders every day, which means practically 7 lakh to 8 lakh orders, from their 50 odd dark stores, right? Now, if I look at this, every dark store is roughly processing around, 50,000 orders. Now, within an hour, and my window is 8 to 10 hours, right? Maximum window is 8 to 10 hours during the warehouse operation process, which means I am required to process 10,000 orders every day or every hour, sorry. Now, how do I process 10,000 orders every hour, right? Earlier, when there were people picking in, which means they required a humongous people to go and pick this. What we did was, rather than getting the entire automation piece, with some of smart engineers, we built a robotic arm, which was put onto a conveyor belt, right? And that robotic arm was just moving in a particular aisle, right? It was not an entire robotics, right? The reason of doing this was two. One is I wanted to pick fast. Secondly, I wanted to be lower on cost. So we built up a solution where rather than a proper robot and robotic arm which was moving in the aisle, and with the suction method and an image recognition, the robotic arm was able to recognize the product, suck it, pick it, put it into the cart, and the cart was coming in. Now, what was the output of this? The output of this was, at every hour, I was able to process 1,000 orders in one aisle, one robotic arm, which was 3 times more than what a human was able to process, right? And this helped them in terms of reducing the cost by 40%. Now, this is something, a live case study that we came across while implementing strategies of, robotics and automation at one of the customers. So this was the first point. The second point is data-driven decisions, right? And this is very well said, right? Analytics is an engine, but for that engine to run better, right, I need the oil, and the oil is nothing but data. Now, there are 2 aspects to this. One is clean and hygiene data, which means if I have an engine, can I run that engine? Let's say I have a car engine. Will I run that engine on a Sweecar oil, or will I run that engine on a Castrol oil? Definitely, I need a proper oil to run that engine, which means I need an hygienic data to run on that engine, right? Secondly, once I pump in correct data, I'll be able to get better insights, better analytics out of it, right? Now, looking at some of the key trends on the data insights, while today, since morning, we've been talking on this, I'll just touch upon them, right? Predict demand. Now, all of you might say that this has been there since years, right? In a warehousing industry, in a retail industry, in a manufacturing industry, the demand prediction has been there, since years. But how dynamically am I able to predict it? The parameters that I'm using for predicting, are they constantly changing, right? Is that getting remodeled, efficiently and timely, right? Am I working on static parameters, or am I working on dynamic parameters? That is something very, very important, right? While we say predict demand, use historical data, but using that historical data, putting a layer of AI or an ML, and make sure that my data is constantly learning, and based on that, I'm able to predict better, is something that, every warehousing has to work upon. Inventory optimization, what to keep, where to keep, how much to keep. Again, very standard definition, but use of AI, ML, making sure that my fast movers, what are my fast movers? Am I keeping in right place, right time, right? So that my picking efficiencies can go lost. I don't go out of stock and stuff, right? Dynamic replenishment, right? Again, proactive replenishment, very similar to each other. But again, am I using data? Am I using data to predict it? Am I using data to learn this? And intelligent routing, which is one of the key touch points that was also discussed before. How smart my logistics have happened, right? How smart my transporters have happened, right? Am I able to predict the full truckload? Am I able to predict my partial truckload, right? If from an e-commerce perspective, right, am I able to predict my route betters and stuff, right? So that is something, again, from a data point of view, the decisions has to be made based on the data, based on the driven factors that are coming out of this. Next, e-commerce integrations. Now, for a warehousing, right, today when it comes to B2C warehousing, while I might have best of the warehouse systems, which can manage inventory, which can help me to, pick, pack and stuff, but until and unless I'm able to give the external world the visibility of what am I carrying, what inventory am I holding, what is the status of the order, right, the warehouse operation is incomplete. So from an e-commerce perspective, for a warehousing operation or for a warehousing solution, it is very, very important that those solutions are talking to the external world. Now, when I say external world, right, there is a brand.com, right? So which can be on the likes of Magento, Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, or as a seller, I am registered on Amazon, Myntra, Tata Click, for that matter, ONDC, which is a government initiative, where I'm, pushing my inventories and stuff. Then the last mile integrations, right? If I have to get the product delivered in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, same day, next day, I need smart solutions to get airway bill number, track the deliveries and stuff. Which means my warehousing today cannot just run within the four wall of warehouse. It has to be extended out to the outside world. It has to be well integrated, which means integration to the e-commerce world is very, very important element. Now, whether it is a product which has been in-house developed, a team which has been in-house developed, or I go ahead and collaborate with the partners who are available, right? But as a strategy, right, as a strategy from a warehousing service provider, if you are looking forward to serve your e-commerce customers, this is something which is very, very much important. I'll just take 1 minute to explain what we do at Vinculum when it comes to, e-commerce integration landscape. Now, this is what we our WMS solution comes with a pre-integrated network. There are more than 300 plus integrations that are readily available, which means any warehousing partner or any brand who wants to leverage on these integrations and wants to go digitally at I would say at a click of a button. It's like a plug and play. You can start using any of these services, whether it is in the domain of web stores, if I have my own brand.com, whether it is my online marketplaces, selling on Amazon, Flipkarts in India, or a Lazada and Shopee in Southeast Asia, or a Noon or Namshi in Middle East, or a Walmart in US, the plugins are available, right? Which means you can put your product, you can put your inventory and start getting orders. 3PL integrations, right? Integrating with the likes of DHL, integrating with the likes of delivery, integrating with the likes of Weektrans, right? All these integrations are in place, which means seamlessly getting the airway bill number, manifestation, tracking the delivery, right? All this is again data, which helps my operation team to be more effective. And finally, the tool or the partner integrations, ERP integrations, financial integrations, point of sale integrations, these are all again readily available, right? But again, e-commerce integration for a warehousing partner is a need of an hour and very much important. Next, last mile optimizations, right? Now, this is something which is burning the pockets of many 3PLs, many brands, many retailers who are selling online. This is taking the biggest amount of that profit, right? Now, today, to deliver a 5 rupee 5-star, right, in a quick commerce, I'm spending 20 to 30 rupees to deliver that product. Yes, as a strategy, it's a known strategy, people are doing it. But how do I make sure that I'm optimizing it continuously? How do I make sure that I am not burning too much? How do I make sure that I am learning from the data and I'm able to consolidate or lessen my losses, right? Or lessen my burnings. So route optimization, making sure that whatever is being taken from my warehouse, it has been optimized to the best of extent so that I can leverage as much as possible. Load optimizations, right? Am I giving 1 parcel? Am I giving 10? Or am I giving 100 parcel, right? And stuff. Fleet optimization, again, one of the topics that was touched earlier. Am I able to optimize my fleet, right? If it is a domestic fleet, it's an international fleet within the local market and stuff. So these are some of the important parameters when it comes to, last mile optimizations or fleet management. Lastly, something towards the society, something towards the humanity on the sustainability part, right? All of our warehousing has to work towards, moving towards electric vehicles, having, solar systems, making sure my packaging solutions are in such a way that those are biodegradable and stuff, right? Which means I'm contributing to the society and my processes, my SOPs are functioning and working towards that, right? So that's all from the part on what were the trends. Definitely there are more. We can always discuss, during the networking sessions. Just I'll take another 2 minutes to touch upon in terms of who we are and what we do, right? So Vinculum, we are a tech SaaS solution provider, right? We provide end-to-end solutions to brand, retailers, 3PL logistics provider, right? While today we were talking about warehousing as one of the solution, right? But if you look at it, the length and the breadth, for a brand from the point that they onboard a product, right? Which means even what my product attribute should be there, the digital assets, right? All of that gets managed into the product data syndication tool, which we refer as PIM, Product Information Management Tool. Now the same product, if I had to, expose to an Amazon or a Myntra or a Flipkart, everybody understands the attributes are different. Today, if you look at, let's say, Skechers as a shoe, if you go on Flipkart, you will see the size in UK. But if you go on Amazon, you will see the shoe size in US. Which means from a data perspective, let's imagine for a brand how difficult it is. And they are not limited only selling on 2 platforms. They are selling on 20 platforms. Which means creating that catalog on the digital platform, it's a time-consuming activity. What we do is with our automation tool called listing, we automate that entire process. So we have metadata which are available by channels, by marketplaces. At a click of a button, we convert your raw data into what the marketplace understands, and we digitally push that data onto those channels. So that's another tool. Order management, right? Creating a single window for real-time visibility of orders, real-time visibility of inventory, routing the orders to the nearest location, right? Now, one of the quick commerce setup, or let's take another example, a brand in India, right, was having several warehouses and stores where they were having inventory. Now, when an order comes, how do I make sure that the order is going to the right location? If it's a customer, placing an order in Ghaziabad, ideally I should send it to a Gurgaon warehouse, not to a Bangalore warehouse. So those kind of rules, right, has to be part of my order management tool. Warehouse management, inventory management, within the 4 walls of the warehouse, how can I optimize my inventory? Omni-channel. Today, all of us, shops across physical malls. We go into stores, right? You will come across a use case where, you can order in store and get it delivered. Or you can order online and click at store. So all those solutions are part of my Omni solutions. And finally, payment reconciliations. Doing reconciliations with marketplace to make sure that I'm collecting the correct money. Doing reconciliation with the transporter to make sure that transporter is charging me the correct money based on the weight and stuff, right? Those all becomes part of my reconciliation use case. So from the point I develop a concept, I create a product, I sell it on the digital channels, and I collect my money. We do the entire stuff of it, right? So that's what Vinculum is. Today, we are working with more than 1,000+ brands globally, right? Primarily, we are present in India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and US as a geography. Brands like Levi's, brands like Skechers, brands like Fossil, Puma, right? Swiggy, Zepto, right? DHL, VTrans. These are some of the customers who are working with us. Now, these are some names, but there are more than this. There are 1,000+ names who are associated with us, right? Anywhere where you feel that, we can help you, we can collaborate, we can contribute, we look forward to talking to you on this, right? So that's all from my side. Definitely, we feel that technology is something which is going to be the key driving factor in the coming years from a warehousing solution perspective. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you indeed.